Guys, let's talk breakout NFL players here for the 2022 season. Now, I've got 6 total players on my list. 4 offensive players, 2 defensive players. I'm sure I could make a part 2 or even a part 3 to this list and expand it. But these are players that I think, based on circumstance, based on where they're at in their careers, they are all ready for an absolute breakout 2022 season. All these players are kind of at different points in their careers. Some are very young, some are older, but just based on the team they're on, based on what I think they're going to do, these are my 6 breakout players right now. I could do a part 2 and a part 3 probably, but this is just, I initially looked and found these players. So let's start with a breakout quarterback. And of course, guys, I talked about this yesterday. For me, it is Trey Lance. It's not even close. It's situation, it's coaching, it's overall offense, it's his overall talent. People underestimating Trey Lance's ability. Not only, we know he's a great runner, but he can throw the football, throw it accurately. He has a major arm. You've got Deebo Samuel, you've got George Kittle, you've got Brandon Ayuk, you've got a stable of good young running backs. You've got the best left tackle in the NFL. A very good defense spearheaded by Nick Bosa. I love this 49ers team, and I love Trey Lance's current situation right now. I'm expecting a major breakout year 2. Technically, it's not like, it would be a major improvement because he barely played in year 1, but I would certainly consider what Trey Lance is about to do as a major breakout. Something like maybe 30 passing touchdowns, 8 rushing touchdowns, and it's maybe like a top 10 49ers offense with the talent that they have. He is going to burst onto the scene. And guys, the key thing with Trey Lance, we all know he's a great runner. He's extremely mobile. The key for him will be not as absorbing contact, staying down, staying healthy. Very similar to the way Russell Wilson operates in the pocket, where he's a mobile quarterback, but he avoids hits and he stays healthy. Except I guess Russell Wilson was injured last year, but throughout Russell Wilson's career, he's been relatively healthy. Trey Lance, he also has the ability to throw the football. That is the one thing people are underestimating. And when you've got 3 elite weapons, I think people are underestimating Brandon Ayuk due to kind of a weird season he had last year with Jimmy G. You've got Ayuk, you've got Deebo signed to a fresh new deal. You've got hopefully a healthy George Kittle who's ready to contribute as a blocker and as an elite pass catcher. He's going to be a major target for Trey Lance. So that is my breakout quarterback in 2022. It is Trey Lance. Just my opinion there. Moving, we've got a running back. It is going to be Tony Pollard. So there's a couple things with Tony Pollard and his situation with the Cowboys that I absolutely love him in terms of his breakout ability. A lot of people immediately will tell me Zeke is still there. Guys, when it comes to Zeke and why this year is different than past in terms of the Zeke-Tony Pollard dynamic, after this year, the Cowboys can, release Zeke, cut him, save money on the contract. It's over. So I don't think there's going to be necessarily a major obligation to get Zeke involved, because after this year, either he's going to come back on a more team-friendly deal, or you're not going to need him. Right now, the bottom line is the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones know they need to win. And to win, they need to play the best players. Zeke's got a lot of mileage on his legs. Going all the way back to his Ohio State days, Tony Pollard is so much more fresh. When you look at what Tony Pollard did in 2021, averaging 5.5 yards per carry, elite weapon out of the backfield. He should be their third down back. The way he wiggles, his quickness, his cuts. I love Tony Pollard. His situation right now, this could be a 1,000-yard rushing season and a 500-yard receiving season for Pollard. The touchdowns are never going to really be there because he is a smaller back. He's not going to get a lot of goal line carries, obviously, but I still think 700 yards and only 2 touchdowns, that's an aberration. Normally if you get 700 rushing yards, you can at least expect 5 or 6 total touchdowns. So I think Pollard also finds the end zone at least 7 or 8 times. Not only rushing, but when you combined rushing with maybe a few pass-catching touchdowns. I love Tony Pollard. Fresh legs. Zeke's not going to be as big of a factor just based off of the mileage, based off of the contract situation. The Dallas Cowboys know you've got the Eagles. They're very improved with the additions that they've made. Jalen Hurts possibly taking the next step. They have to play the best players. Tony Pollard is their best running back at this point in his career compared to where Zeke is in terms of his overall mileage. So Tony Pollard, I'm expecting a major breakout season. The next guy, it is Jerry Jeudy, and this one is probably the most obvious breakout player ever. Guys, Jerry Jeudy was an absolute beast at Alabama. A lot of people forget it. He was drafted inside the top 15 in the NFL draft by the Denver Broncos, and the reason his first 2 years have not gone well, very simple. Horrible quarterback play and an injury last year. Jerry Jeudy last year, 38 receptions, less than 500 yards, 0 touchdowns. Well, you want to talk about an absolute breakout candidate. I know people are going to say Courtland Sutton's going to eat into his target share, things like that, but I do believe he will be Courtland Sutton's going to be a really good number 2 receiver. He'll be very good, but Jerry Jeudy, his overall talent oozes. It tells me he is going to be their number 1 receiver. How about 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns for Jerry Jeudy? Again, I'm also expecting a good year from Courtland Sutton. It's going to be an improved offense. Javonte Williams, and then obviously Russell Wilson. The reason for Jerry Jeudy breaking out, you're going from Drew Lock to Russell Wilson, and you're healthy now. It's so obvious, guys. This is crazy. This is why I always draft Jerry Jeudy in the 5th or 6th round of my fantasy mock draft. So Jerry Jeudy, absolute stud at Alabama. Everyone forgets it because his first 2 years in the NFL haven't been great. And it's mainly due to the poor quarterback play compounded with the injury that he had last year. So Jeudy is an absolute breakout candidate. We've got another receiver on the breakout list. It is going to be DJ Moore. And when I talk about DJ Moore breaking out, I think at the end of the 2022 season, we're going to be looking at DJ Moore as a top 6 or a top 7 receiver in the NFL. He was ticketed and he was headed on his way to being a top 7 receiver last year until Sam Darnold just decided to be one of the worst starting quarterbacks in NFL history. He had to deal with that. And guys, he still put up almost 1,200 yards. And you look, 1,200 yards, only 4 touchdowns. That is crazy. We're expecting more touchdowns. And I think Baker Mayfield is being underrated as well by many people. If you remember, guys, Baker Mayfield injured his shoulder week 2 last year, played through the entire season with an injury. He should be more healthy. He should be able to facilitate a really elite receiver season from DJ Moore. Robbie Anderson is also there, but I don't expect him. He's more of a deep threat. He's not going to cut into the target share. Also, Terrence Marshall is a young receiver from LSU going into year 2. So they have other good receivers, but I'm telling you, DJ Moore has the talent to be a clear top 7, top 6 receiver. I know it's a very competitive position. You've got so many players there, but I believe in DJ Moore. I'm drafting DJ Moore 3rd, 4th round of my fantasy drafts. He is going to be an absolute star. Get him Baker Mayfield, who is a solid quarterback who's being underrated because he was injured last year, and expect huge things, a major breakout from DJ Moore. And then, guys, I do have 2 defensive players on my breakout watch list. The first player, it's going to be Jeff Okudah. And guys, it's so rare. Jeff Okudah, number 3 overall pick at the cornerback position. This is one of those players where I was so sure was going to be an absolute shutdown cornerback in the NFL. What's happened his first 2 years, year 1, it was his rookie season. He got burnt a ton. We get it. Year 2, he suffers the injury. Guys, Jeff Okudah is a dark horse comeback player of the year. Watch. I'm telling you, in high school, he was a superstar, 5-star. In college at Ohio State, I watched every game. He was a superstar shutdown cornerback. This guy is a stud. And I would be shocked if this dude ends up a bust in the NFL like many people are predicting based off of his first 2 seasons. Jeff Okudah will come back, and he will be an absolute shutdown cornerback. And he is, again, a dark horse to win comeback player of the year after the major injury he had last year. He's healthy, and I love his technique, his overall athleticism, how quick he is as a cornerback. He has everything. He just has to put it together on the field. It's been a rough first 2 years, but he's all right. He'll be back, and he will be a stud for the Detroit Lions and that young defense. He is still only 23 years old, so very, very young. Next, we do have my final breakout player on this list. It is Josh Allen, and not Josh Allen of the Bills. Obviously, that'd be weird. Josh Allen is already broken out. It is Josh Allen of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I actually stumbled upon him by accident when I was looking at the overall odds for Defensive Player of the Year. I saw him so low, and I was like, that's crazy. And I actually looked at his stats, and he really hasn't had a major breakout season. Now, he's generally regarded as a very good defensive pass rusher, but overall, when you look at him, 7.5 sacks. This guy is a disruptor. He's big. He's fast. I could very easily see 14, 15 sacks from Josh Allen as an absolute breakout first-team defensive AP player type for Josh Allen, just based off of his athleticism. I think he puts it all together this year. These are the type of players that do tend to break out. The twitchy guys that are big but also fast. We could see 14, 15 sacks from him. They do have Trayvon Walker, so maybe that takes a little bit of heat off of him as well. So Josh Allen is another guy that I really, really think will break out. But guys, overall, those are my 6 players that I do think are going to break out. And again, I could do a part 2, I could do a part 3, probably, depending on if I really went into and did research. But these are my initial 6 players that I'm so sure, based on their current situations, the way they're looking, I'm expecting huge years. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.